Trim lead us in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lehners. So a brief update this morning from assessment and taxation, a reminder to property owners that if they want to get signed up for monthly payments for the year of 2022 property taxes, to get their applications in soon. Applications for monthly payments after January 20th are subject to a late sign-up fee. Finance is working on making the changes to our budget book following last week's deliberations, and the budget will come forward for approval at the December 13th council meeting. And just to note that our non-emergency citizen portal is in full operation at access.cityofgp.com. We've seen with the changing weather conditions that we've experienced over the past week that we have approximately a 28% increase in volumes. Citizens are encouraged to submit their service requests via the citizen portal, as this will help us better facilitate the service request and expedite our responses. Again, that is access.cityofgp.com. And that concludes my update for this committee meeting, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Director Trim. Are there any questions of the Director? Seeing none, thank you very much. Don't see any correspondence in our agenda. So we have two items in other business. First one being 5.1 remote attendance of council. I guess I'll speak to this a little bit, but I obviously won't be making the motion on that. I've asked Mayor Clayton to do that for me, but in today's day and age, I think we recognize the importance for various modes of communication, and not everybody can be everywhere, especially in this pandemic. I think that highlighted that there's needs for people to be able to have discussions in camera that we always can't necessarily be in face for. And I've always said there's two kind of fundamental principles about in-camera discussions. One is that you want as many voices at the table as possible as you try and come to the truth, or your version of the truth is what that is that day. And so limiting people because they've got other things that they need to be at, I don't know if that benefits us as a group. And secondly, I think there's an inherent understanding that people who engage in camera discussions are to take that information in confidence, and when they get it, they're supposed to be in confidence, and then in the future they share it. They don't share it. So I think there's an assumption of trust with people that, you have to assume that, they're going to make sure that their situation when they are not in the room is secure and private from others. So perhaps you could lead us with the motion, and if there's discussion after that, we can go from there.
Sure, absolutely. As indicated, I have Councillor Lerner's motion here that move that committee request I move that committee request to have bylaw C-11299C amended to read as follows. A closed meeting must include as a minimum quorum of council and the city clerk, and meetings can be accessed remotely at the discretion of the chair.
Any discussion on that, Councillor O'Toole?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that motion and the results. Since I've been on council, we've been told that we are part-time people. This isn't a full-time job where we make all of our money here to survive and pay the taxes and look after our families. And when you consider that you have to work outside, maybe out of town, maybe on location someplace, and we have to miss a very important meeting, such as an in-camera, I feel that as long as we take all the steps to make sure that it's a secure conversation, and we've already taken a number of oaths to allow us to operate, and with that, I think with all that in place, I think that we should have some options out there. So with that, I would support this motion.
Councillor O'Toole, Councillor Blackburn.
I just have a question for administration. I need a reminder. There is restrictions on how many remote meetings we can attend a year, I believe, and can you tell me what those are and if we should maybe be looking at those numbers at this time?
Hopefully someone has an answer for that.
Thank you, through the chair. Right now, we have it listed as 6 committee days and 6 council meetings per year. Can be attended remotely.
So a total of 12, essentially. Okay, and then if we pass this motion, we would be limiting the number of that, or
Generally, our in-camera meetings fall on the same day as a council meeting or a standing committee meeting. So yeah, it shouldn't affect that.
Okay, I will support the motion. I feel that in this day and age, we need to take advantage of every opportunity to ensure council is able to live their dual lives of being on council and being employed. I also feel that we were elected by a group of people who believed in our integrity and our honesty and our good faith. And I think that taking that into consideration, having given a couple hours thought to this, I believe the motion is a great one and I will fully support it.
Thank you, Councillor Blackmore. Any further questions? Councillor Bressley.
Great, thank you. Yeah, there's been conversation about council members having other jobs, but for me, it's actually the opposite. It is this. I've recently been appointed to Alberta municipalities, and I'm actually looking at the board meeting decisions and some meetings we've got scheduled, making the hard decision of, am I going to travel for the board meeting or am I going to prioritize the in-person Grande Prairie meeting? And so even within the job of a city councillor, the current rules are limiting me. So private life and other employment aside, this would substantially help me do my job for the residents of Grande Prairie. So I certainly appreciate the motion.
Apologies, I was just informed that it was 6 days, 6 committee and 6 council days, and it was changed to 4. That's what it is now in the current procedure bylaw.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Mayor Clayton?
Thanks, Chair Learners. So your intent is primarily or specifically for in-camera meetings, closed meetings. I support that, remote access to an in-camera meeting. My concern with the motion, and I can't speak against this motion, but is the wording on the discretion of the chair. In my opinion, if maybe you wanted to look at that, I think it puts the chair in an awkward position. I just think if council wants to do this, do it.
Yeah, I added that to soften it up because I didn't know if there were people who support it. So I would take that as a friendly amendment to hack that back end off. Wouldn't hurt my feelings just allow them. Bressie?
Yeah, I know I don't get to vote today, but when this comes to council, I certainly get to vote. And that discretion for chair is important to me, or else there needs to be more rigid rules around this. 2 concerns. I think the vast majority of in-camera conversations can happen with technology. I think very occasionally there's something that is so highly confidential that it might be prudent to say, hey, no, this one, you need to be in person. But even more than that, what my concern is if we're not going to have a discretion of the chair, then I think we need to be adding a whole bunch of rules into this, such as you have to be in a private room. You can't be in a public area of a hotel. You can't, if you're in that private room, nobody else can be in there. You have to have your screen on so that we can make sure you're in your private room. I think there's a whole bunch of specific rules I've seen other boards do that I don't love, because I think the more specific we get our bylaw, the more challenges it has. But if you leave in the discretion of the chair, then the chair can enforce those rules that probably are good practice but aren't needed. So for me, it's either I think we need to leave some discretion to the chair, or we need to add more rules around exactly how do you maintain privacy in an in-camera meeting.
Mayor Clayton?
Chair Learners, happy to leave it as is. and wait for it to get to council for debate.
Okay. Thank you for that. Councillor Bosch?
Just a comment. If it's in camera, all of those rules apply regardless, right? So I'm not sure that it would be something that anybody wouldn't assume or know to be true. So you would be alone. You would be, don't have people around you. That's common to any type of in-camera session. We do it here. We leave when, other committees have in camera. So the rules apply whether it's online or not, in my opinion.
Thank you, Councillor Bosch. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. Yes? Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So we have this initial motion on the table, and the vote should be up for your vote. Great, and that carries. Councillor Blackmore, you wanted to make a supplemental motion?
Yes, I would move that council direct administration to make further revisions to bylaw C, whatever, I can't read the number, to move the number of remote meetings back to 6 for council meetings and 6 for standing committee meetings.
Okay, we have a motion on the I assume that's in order. And any further questions or comments on Councillor Blackmore's motion? Councillor Bressy.
Just a comment on, again, I don't get to vote today, but when it does come to council, I'm trying to pull out the procedure by law, but I think that whatever the motions are, council can, whatever the current numbers are, council can waive that if there's extraordinary circumstances. If somebody's been away because there are a lot of meetings, and
Sick.
for me, I personally don't think there should be a specific number in the bylaw, period. My position has been, it should just be a code of conduct thing that you make a priority to be in person at every opportunity possible. But if we are going to have a number in the bylaw, then I'd encourage us to keep it low. And if somebody's hitting up that number, then council can weigh in and council can have them. Because 4 meetings a year, that's 2 months that you could be out of country taking part in council. And I don't know if I want to make that any bigger without the permission of council.
Any further comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, I will call the motion. Thank you for that, and it carries unanimously. The next item added item to the list was pertaining to the provincial seniors property tax deferral program. I guess the beginnings of this was I woke up in the middle of the night thinking, wow, did I have a great idea for council. I thought, wow, we could people who can't afford their taxes when they're seniors that are living on the edge, and many of them could defer their taxes to a future sale, kind of like a reverse mortgage, and then ease the burden on that. And then as I looked further and further and listened to the comments, there's actually a provincial program in there, but very few people knew about it, and I thought it might be a good idea for us just to put a link on our website for people that can't afford their taxes or find it increasingly uncomfortable in their senior years to pay it, that they understand that there's an option for them, and so that we would have a link on there that they could do that if they chose to do it. So I just I guess I have asked Mayor Clayton to make that motion as well.
Sure. Thanks, Chair Leonard's happy to read the motion for you. Committee request committee direct administration to ensure a link on the City of Grande Prairie website be installed to inform and direct interested seniors in accessing the provincial seniors property tax deferral program.
Okay, so I think that motion's in order. So any questions or comments? Councillor O'Toole.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was just wondering if nonprofits and seniors representatives in the community are aware of this program as well. I'm thinking seniors outreach for one, and maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to contact the accountants in town that do the majority of the seniors tax breaks and Golden Age Center and stuff like that. Let them know that that they need to at least discuss this with somebody or some families or whoever it may be, that this program is available.
I'm not so sure from a provincial tax assessment, which the accountants would do, if this doesn't apply to that. This just applies to property taxes, but the Golden Age Centers and those kinds of things,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense. So I don't know how that would be communicated, but that's a good idea for sure. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, I will call a motion. All those in favor, or vote or whatever. And that is carried 4-0. Next we have, there's nothing on bylaw and policy review, so I'll go to the outstanding items list. And perhaps Director Trim.
Thank you, Chair Laners. The outstanding items list is currently empty with the addition that we would have of the motion that was just made regarding the Provincial Seniors Property Tax Deferral Program and the reference on the city's website, which would be in addition to the outstanding items list.
Okay, so can I get a motion to accept Councillor Blackmore?
I would move that committee receive the December 7th, 2021 outstanding items list as amended for information.
Thank you for that. Other questions or comments? Seeing none, call the motion. And that is carried unanimously. So with that, I will call this meeting adjourned.